The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
Pedro, hi. Thank you very much for being with us. It's not the first time that you are in this studio, and we're glad always to talk about 500 Eurasia, 500 Global in Eurasia.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me once more.
Pedro, this isn't the first time of you being in Tech Inform or in general in BMG Studio, which means and highlights the importance of the startup ecosystem and venture capital, and in general all the topics around this industry, that they are very important to us. But back in the day, you represented 500 Georgia. Now there was rebranding. You changed the name. Now the program's name is 500 Global in Eurasia. Why did you decide to change the name, and what is the new scope? What does the expansion give to 500 Global?
Yeah, so the scope is still the same. We're not changing our mission, and our processes will remain the same. What we wanted is the name to reflect the ambition of this project. And the ambition from day one was to set, or to help set, Georgia as a tech hub for a much broader region. And that includes attracting founders from a broader region here. That includes attracting attention from international investors here. And so using a broader name like Eurasia allows us to achieve our mission more efficiently, more effectively. So nothing's changing in the delivery of the program, and we'll continue operating in the same way. We just want the world to know that we're here for a much broader region than just Georgia.
Despite the name change, the program is still based in Georgia. Why is that?
Well, Georgia has a set of specific conditions that make it very easy for us to run an accelerator, a world-class accelerator here. Given its geolocation, your geopolitical position too, it is a country where it is possible to bring founders from a much larger set of countries to work together. And so that's a key part of running an acceleration program like us. At the same time, we've seen stability in terms of regulation. We've seen a series of proactive measures to set the country as a stable ground to set up a venture, to grow businesses. Second thing. Third thing is talent. There's more and more available talent for tech entrepreneurship in the country, whether local or moving in, because the country is now so attractive for international workers. And we feel like all of these together made a perfect combination to run the program here, and we'll continue doing so for the foreseeable future.
Pedro, which countries does 500 Global in Eurasia cover? Or in other words, which companies from which countries could participate in the acceleration program?
In terms of companies, we're usually looking for companies that already have a functional product and ideally are already generating some revenue. In terms of geographical location, the list of countries is over 25 countries, but to put it simply, it goes from Central Asia, Caucasus, Eastern Europe, Baltics, and the Balkans. So it's a pretty long list of countries.
The sixth batch of the program has just concluded. Let's talk about statistics. How many startups were included in this batch? Which industries do they represent, and which countries do they represent?
This batch has 8 companies. The range of countries includes Georgia, Lithuania, Armenia, Kazakhstan, and a few others. And then the companies, as in the previous batches, also span a very broad set of verticals or industries. You have HR tech, you have fintech, you have Web3, you have content generation tools, productivity tools. A lot of them, even though they're addressing specific verticals, have AI at their core, which is a new trend that we see in the market now.
Pedro, the sixth batch traditionally ended with a demo day that was held at Rustaveli Theater, which is already a traditional spot for demo days. Could we highlight the main aspects of the demo day, the main highlights that you remember?
Yeah, so our demo days, we want them to be not just a night of company pitches, but also a night to bring more international investors to the country and bring more international media attention to the country. So for every demo day, we invite a series of investors in media from the key hubs around the world, Silicon Valley, London, Berlin, etc., So we had a few more of those again for this demo day. We also then promote a significant amount of time for networking between these investors, other investors, our founders, and other ecosystem stakeholders. So we want this not to be just seen as another pitch event, but really the beginning of a community building project that's also part of our mission here in Georgia.
The application process for the 7th batch has already been announced, and we are interested in the deadlines and also what are the requirements for the startups.
So the deadline now is we're open all year round for applications, so companies can actually come to our site. You can just Google 500 Eurasia and you'll get to our landing page where the founders can submit their decks anytime, their applications anytime. The next batch will start in mid-September, so we will likely be making the final investment and selection decisions by the end of August, early September, the latest. We're always looking for companies that already have a functional product and ideally are generating revenue because we designed the program to take these companies from small amounts of revenue, typically between $0 and $10,000 a month, to 5x, 10x that if we can with the tools and the frameworks that we give them. So we look for companies in a diverse set of verticals, and we can invest in anything from fintech, HR, in other areas.
The fact that we're talking about 7th batch means that it's been already quite some time that 500 Global is present here in Georgia. I'd like to ask you to tell a success story of any particular startup of your choosing from the program, from the 6 batches that we had that maybe raised a substantial amount of money or had an exit or something like that.
You know, I always joke that a father can't choose the favorite son or daughter, but in this case, we do have already a pretty standout company from one of the recent batches, Praktika. They help people learn foreign languages on a mobile app. And so you can think of them as a version of Duolingo on a mobile, but the uniqueness of their product is that the training is done by AI bots or AI avatars. So there's no human intervention in the teaching process. All the content is created by Gen AI, and the product is loved by the users. Their retention rates are very, very high, way above the industry standards. And as a result, they just announced recently a mega round of more than $30 million from a UK leading investor at a valuation around 140 million. And so this shows the type of companies that we want to identify and accelerate our program. This company came to our program pre-revenue. They were not making any money. They were testing the product on different users with different models, and now they achieved success with what they've built, and they're making, I think, close to 15 million in ARR. So that's the type of results that we're trying to achieve with other companies in the batch.
Pedro, thank you very much for your time. The facts that you just told us are phenomenal. Company and scaling company from pre-revenue to incredible numbers. This is very good, and I really hope to hear more success stories in the future, especially about Georgian companies as well. And we're looking forward to hosting you once again and many more times here in Tech Inform and in general on BMG.
Happy to come back and continue telling our success stories in the region.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.